My name is Tomio Sanyo. I was born to my father, Kenichi, and my mother, his mistress, Kimiko. I'm a result of their affair. Tomorrow I'm going to go to work. Be a good girl at home alone, okay? Sure, Mom. I got it. Have a great day. Life certainly wasn't easy, but even in that situation, my mom and I helped each other in every way as she was basically a single mother.
Tomoyo, long time no see. How you been?
Dad, I missed you. I've been so sad.
Is that so? I'm sorry, little Tomoyo, for always making you so sad.
Kenichi, it's nice to see you. I missed you. Can you stay the whole day today?
Yeah, one day should be fine.
Through our difficult life, my mom and I would always look forward to the day that my father would come visit us. However, Kenichi would only hand us an envelope of about $1,000 per month. This was all we got as his side family. It wasn't enough for one adult and one child to live off of. That's why my mom wasn't able to sit back and relax while raising me. She had to work without any days off to support us. I was always left home alone, so my days were spent feeling extra lonely and sad. Even though I grew up this way, there was something that would always make me feel better. Tomio, what's wrong? You seem a bit down. Is everything okay? Yeah, everything's all right, Shoko. I was just lost in my thoughts. I see. Oh, by the way, your dad was there over the break, wasn't he? For the first time in 2 months. How was it, seeing him? How are you feeling? I mean, I was happy, for sure. But it's always so hectic when he comes, and it's over in an instant, and then he disappears again. So, to be honest, I don't even really know anymore, I guess. What, so does that mean maybe he doesn't love me? No way! If that were the case, then he wouldn't come visit you, would he? Yeah, I mean, I guess. It just feels more normal to not have him around these days. Plus, my mom seems really tired these days, and she hasn't been feeling so well. I see. Your family has a lot going on. If there's anything that I can do to help you guys, let me know, okay? I'm always here for you. Yeah. Thank you, Shoko. Every day I was forced to face my reality and live this life, but my best friend Shoko was always there to support me. Little did I know that this hard but maintainable life would soon come to an end as well. Unfortunately, it wasn't ending for the better, but rather for the worst. No. This can't be real. It's a joke, right, Mom? Wake up, Mom! Overcome by her difficulties and being overworked for years, my mom passed away at a young age. We were able to pay for the funeral somehow with her life insurance. However, an even bigger problem was left for me to figure out. My mom grew up in an orphanage, and therefore she didn't have any other family. Because I was still a minor, and the only person that I was able to rely on was my blood-related father, I had no choice but to go to him. My father seemed happy that we could live together, but the rest of the family certainly did not feel the same way. Seriously, Tomio, how many times do I have to tell you to clean this up? Yes, I did clean it up, just like you told me to. Well then, what is this pile of trash here? What is this? There wasn't any trash here before. Where did this come from?
Yo, sorry about that, Tomoyo. I accidentally knocked over the entire trash can and it fell everywhere. My bad. But that's not the important part. Hurry up and clean it, because that's your job. You know that, right?
Go on, do as Saiki says. Hurry up and clean it, Tomio. What? But I already cleaned it, and I'm not the one who did this. Who do you think you are? You're the bastard child of a mistress, and you think you can come in here and talk back to us? We're letting you stay here and feeding you, so it's your duty to listen to us and do as you're told. Yes, I understand. I'll clean it immediately. Every time my father wasn't around, my half-brother and stepmother continued to bully me and make my life a living hell. I thought that being all alone and sad was hard, but this felt even worse than that.
Tomoyo, have you adjusted to your new home yet?
Yes, a little bit. Why, yes, honey. This little girl is working very hard around here. I was reaching my limit with this miserable life, and as soon as I graduated high school, I left the house. Today's dinner is just miso soup with sprouts and bread crust. I'm so tight on money, it's not easy, but it's still way better than staying there. After I left the house, I moved into my own place and started living alone. However, because I was still a minor, they had an extremely low salary. I could barely even put food on my own table, much less live comfortably. Even then, despite the struggle, these two would still periodically come by to check in on me. By these two, I mean my father, Kenichi, and my best friend, Shoko.
Tomoyo, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to do anything for you. I know that Mommy and Psyche couldn't accept you for being the daughter of my mistress. I've made you go through so much pain, and I'm truly so sorry.
Yeah, but there's nothing we can do about it. To those people, I'm a nobody, even worse than a stranger. I hope you know that it's not your fault. My father would always bring me a little gift, and even though it wasn't much, he would try to support me with a little cash too. And every single time, he would shower me with those types of words. I never once hated my father, though. That's because I knew that my father genuinely loved both my mom and me, and he never once lied about that. I heard that he did try to get a divorce at one point, but he was pressured by his wife's family and could never win against his strong wife, and his life continued as is until the present day. That's why I never blame my father. Unfortunately, it was just the way the cards were dealt, and I drew an unlucky hand. Perhaps if he had met my mom first and been able to marry her, then maybe we could have a happy life like everybody else. Even if we were poor and didn't have much at all, if the three of us were together, then maybe we could have been a loving family like everybody else. Maybe I could have had a taste of happiness like everybody else. But those wishes are long in the past, especially now with my mom gone. And so, I got a job at the same restaurant as Shoko. Of course, one of the reasons why I decided to work here was so that Shoko and I could work together, but it was also because a staff meal was served every day. To be able to secure at least one meal was a big savior for someone like me who was really struggling to make ends meet. The biggest savior of all, though, was to have my best friend Shoko so close to me. Because with her by my side, I could feel a reason to live in this otherwise hopeless life. Hey, Tomoyo, since we both have the day off tomorrow, why don't you come over to my house for a sleepover? Oh, really? Yeah, I'd love to. Well, this makes me feel kind of old. It's been a long time since we've had a sleepover. Yeah, I think the last time was in high school. It was when your mom was still healthy. Yeah, that's right. It's been a while. Back then, you would sometimes come over to our house, too. Yeah, how nostalgic. Sleepovers with you and your mom were always fun, especially since I didn't have a mom at home. It always felt like your mom was my real mom. Shoko and I had a moment of reflecting on some memories we'd shared. After we finished work, I dropped by my own apartment to get a change of clothes and headed toward Shoko's house. Hello, I'm here. I've been waiting for ya. Sorry I'm late. I got caught up looking for an album. Album? Which one? From when? From when we were in elementary school. To me, this is my number one keepsake from my mother. I see. Well, can we have a look? Oh my gosh, look at this! Isn't this from the very first time that I went to go over to your house? Yeah, that's right. And then this one is when you, me, and my mom went to the park together. Wow. I remember that day. Your mom finally had the day off work, so she was able to play with us, right? Because she knew that I didn't have a mom. And then this is the first photo we ever took together as a family. Wow, yeah. I remember this one, too. I think this was the first time that I ever met your father, right? Yep, that's right. And I introduced you to my father as my first and best friend. Do you remember that? Yeah, of course I remember. I just can't believe it's been over 10 years since all of this. Yeah, how crazy. When I think about it, I think that was the happiest time I had in my entire life. Tomio, it's all right. Don't give up. If you keep going, I know the day will come that you're rewarded for everything. So don't give up. For your mom, too. I know she wants to see you happy. Yeah, you're right. Thanks, Shoko. The two of us look back at our memories while laughing and crying. I can never go back to those nostalgic and happy days. Those days spent with my mom and a brief few days I spent with my father. None of it. But even in my hopeless dark life, Shoko took my hand and tried to remind me that there was still so much life ahead of us. And she would always say, "We're going to be happy together." To me, this was my only motivation and also my number one savior to keep going. A letter? Who could it be from? However, 1 month later, I received an unexpected envelope of a one-way letter. When I checked the sender, I saw my father's name written on it, and despite having an uneasy feeling, I brought the envelope up to my room. My father? Why would he send me a letter? It felt way too strange. That's because I had never received a letter from him before, or any packages sent to me either. I sat down and opened the envelope, and there was a letter folded up inside. I laid it out and started to run my eyes across the words written on it. No way. My father's in the hospital right now? But why? When I read the letter, I was so shocked and went into such a panic that I immediately picked up the phone and mindlessly called Shoko. Shoko, what do I do? Wait, Tomio, hold on. What happened? My father's in the hospital. He has to stay there, and your dad in the hospital? Okay. Tomio, calm down. Deep breaths. Wait for me. I'm coming over now. A few minutes later, Shoko came running to my apartment and arrived at my doorstep out of breath. Hey, sorry to keep you waiting, Tomio. I'm sorry, Shoko. No, don't worry about me. Anyway, what happened to your father? That's the thing, I don't know. All he said was that he was going to have to stay in the hospital for a while, and that's why he won't be able to come see me. I see. But if he's saying that he has to stay in the hospital for a while, it must mean it's a pretty serious condition, probably, right? That's the only conclusion I can come to. Shoko, what am I supposed to do? Should I go straight to the hospital? All right, well, first let's try to calm down a little bit. It's true that we need to go to the hospital to understand the exact situation, but we can't go today, you know. But why? First of all, look at the time. What time is it right now? The time? Right now, it's around 8 p.m. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you finally realized, right? It's already past the time that visitors are allowed in the hospital, so we don't have a choice but to wait until tomorrow. You're right. Tomorrow, after we both finish work, let's go together to see your father. We're both the early shift tomorrow, right? Yeah. Thank you, Shoko. You're the best. And so, the next day, Shoko and I finished work as quickly as possible and headed straight to the hospital. Father, are you okay? Are you okay, Mr. Kenichi?
Oh dear, Tomoyo and even Shoko, you came all the way just to see me. Thank you. I just had a little injury, that's all. I'm sorry to make you worry.
But still, it's obviously not small. What happened? How did you get hurt?
Oh, it's nothing. It seems like I didn't realize how tired I was, and I let my foot slip on the stairs. And I took a bit of a tumble, so I broke both my arms and my legs.
I see. So it's not like you have a heavy illness or something, right?
Yes, I'm fine. It just means that I have to go through some therapy before I can walk again. So it might take a while before I'm fully recovered.
Oh, well, thank goodness. To be honest, I panicked. I didn't know what I would do if you left me too.
I see. I'm sorry, truly, Tomoyo. But I'm so happy to see your face, and thank you for coming to check on me. There was actually something that I wanted to talk to you about.
What is it?
Yes, and it's very, very important. There's a chance that you and I might be able to live together.
Really? But if we did that, those people would never forgive you, no?
Sure, you're right that they may never forgive me, but if all goes well, none of that will matter anymore. So just hang tight for me, Tomoyo, and I promise I'll do my best.
Okay. I'm not sure I really understand yet, but if it means that I get to live with you, then I'll be happy. After confirming that my father was indeed okay, Shoko and I left his hospital room. It must be hard that he's injured like that, but I'm still relieved to know that it wasn't as bad as we thought. doesn't seem like he'll be disabled afterwards either. Yeah, seriously. I'm so glad. Thanks again, Shoko, for coming with me. What are you thanking me for? I'm your best friend. Of course I'm going to be worried. We both let out a deep sigh of relief, but as we were trying to leave the hospital...
Hey, isn't that Tomoyo? Wow, we haven't seen you in a long time. Have you forgotten how to say hello to your own brother?
Saiki. Hi. Long time no see. Oh, well, look who it is. It's Tomio. What are you doing in a place like this? I came to check in on my father. Interesting. I don't know where you came crawling from, but we're here to take care of him, so you really don't need to come back anymore. What? But I still want to see my father. Do you need me to put it to you more clearly? You've always been so dull, I guess not much has changed. Well then, let me give it to you straight. You're the bastard child from his mistress. Stop acting like you're his family and leave us alone. And looking so pathetic dressed like that. I don't want anyone to think that we're related to you anyway. How could you? Excuse you? Regardless of who you are, that's way too selfish of you. Why should she have to get permission from you to come see her real father? And who the heck are you? Peasants can keep their mouths shut. Anyway, don't you two ever show your faces here again. You hear me? This woman, if you let me have a word with her. Shoko, it's fine, let's go. What? No, but... Shoko and I left the hospital, and we walked to a park far away from the hospital and sat down on a bench. That old witch, she really gets on my nerves. What a terrible person. It wasn't enough for her to push you out of the house. She still has to say such horrible things to you. But, Tomio, why didn't you say anything back? I'm sure that it upset you, didn't it? Of course, it makes me so mad. It always has, but if I fight with those people, it only makes my father's life harder. And plus, when we went to go see him at the hospital, what he was saying... You mean when he said that you guys might be able to live together? True. It seemed like a pretty big deal. Yeah, I don't really know what he meant by that, but I want to believe him, so I can hold on for a little longer, and I don't want to make things more difficult in the meantime. Alright, well, if that's how you feel, then I'll always support you, and I'll hope for the best for you too. And so, Shoko and I both decided to believe my father's words. A few days later, a man I didn't recognize showed up at my workplace and asked for me.
Are you Miss Tomoyo Sanyo?
Yes, I'm Tomio Sanyo. And may I ask who you are?
My name is Daisuke Shijo. I'm a friend of your father. Would you have some time today once you finish your job?
I hurried to finish up my work and met with Mr. Shijo at a cafe nearby.
I'm sorry to catch you after work like this. Actually, I was asked for a favor by your father to come find you.
What? What do you mean? I couldn't understand what he was saying, and I asked Mr. Shijo to clarify. He began to open up the details to me. Many years ago, it turns out that my father had been dating my mom with the intention of marrying her. However, Mommy Kojo of the wealthy Kojo family fell in love with him, and using her family's money, she bought the majority of shares in my father's company and gained control over both my father and his company. Then she threatened to forcefully terminate all of the company employees unless he broke up with my mom and cornered him into marrying her. To save his company and his employees, he felt he had no choice but to accept the situation. However, in order to do something about these unfair circumstances, my father had secretly teamed up with his friend, Mr. Shijo, and grew a separate business together. And now, finally, their efforts were looking like they were going to pay off.
We're so sorry that it took us this long, but now you can relax. Your day has finally come, Tomoyo.
After that, I was invited to Mr. Shijo's house. According to him, my father and Mr. Shijo had finally succeeded in buying every single one of the Kojo Company shares. This became a reality because the Kojo Company hadn't been doing well lately, and they were able to take advantage. As a result, Mommy Kojo and Saiki Kojo lost their status as owners of the company, But because they continued on with their spending habits, they had to sell all of their private property in order to meet their payments. From there, my father presented her with divorce papers, and without any power over him anymore, Mommy reluctantly signed an exchange for a small amount of money to cut all ties. Fast forward to today, the Kojo mother and son lost their assets, their house, and their pride all at once, and are now living in a crappy one-room apartment while aimlessly trying to figure out how to survive. As for me, my father and I moved into Mr. Sanjo's house. Because Mr. Sanjo's house is actually shared property with my father, it turns out it's also my father's house as well.
Tomio, I'm here! Mr. Yusuke, Ryoma, nice to see you.
Hey there, Shoko!
Ah, she's finally here. Now that we're all here, should we all go shopping?
Yeah, let's do it! You ready, Tomoyo?
Yes, let's go. All of our situations had been changed, and this time, for the better. I'm dating the oldest son of Mr. Sanjo, Yusuke, with a mutual hope of getting married. And what's even better is that Shoko is dating his younger brother, Ryoma. If things go well, Shoko and I will no longer be best friends, but instead will become sister-in-laws. To become family with the people I love most is the greatest happiness in the world. It wasn't an easy road to get here, and life really kicked me up until this point, but I'm so happy now that I feel it was all worth it in the end. Mom, I hope you're watching. This is all for you.